Well,
Happy
hello,
Friday.
everybody.
How you doing?
Feeling pretty good, man. Feels like the first day of summer actually today. I don't know why. Something about the
Dude, I drove to the office, my windows rolled down.
yeah, yeah.
Did you
Took a
do
little
that?
walk outside this morning. I was just like, yeah, just getting kind of the Phoenix heat out here. Feeling kind of good actually. Watching the live stream, the hackathon live stream that kicked off today. It feels like it's like when you were younger. It's like water park time. I'm digging
Yeah,
it,
dude.
man.
I'm excited. I'm excited about this hackathon. I'm gonna fucking win. Okay. Me and our boy Brett
Ooh.
from DJ are gonna win. We're gonna talk about that here in a little bit. But my guy, non-sponsored shill for a second. Okay. So like, okay, listen, everybody. I know that Bolt sponsors the show, and that's great because we love Bolt. But I just want to talk about this for a second, like non-chill. How sick was it that if you registered for the hackathon, which I think last night I saw somewhere it was like 60 or maybe even more than that, like it might be 80,000 now had
Yeah.
registered for the hackathon. That that Bolt pack that you got, all
Yes.
of those freebies, just like the absolute hookup there. And dude, the fact that you can win $100,000 for first place is cool. But the fact that there's nice prizes all the way going down to like 10th place and then like the regional winners, I'm pretty stoked on that. I
You know
just I
what?
think the stuff that they're doing for the community is a game changer right now.
There's a second order effect I've realized is kicking off. So between Greg Eisenberg's doing like live streaming with it, Bolt's doing their live streaming, they're checking in on people throughout the month as they're
Yeah.
building this. So I noticed this because in my head, I thought it was being unique. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna like just occasionally pop in to random contestants throughout the month and I'm gonna make a video about these teams and these individuals building this cool stuff. No, everybody's doing that. The second order effect is even if you don't win this thing, you're gonna get your team or your work in front of a whole bunch of people. I think there's gonna be real companies and co-founderships that come out of this thing.
I think there's going to be two. Yeah.
I think we should have some of those people on the show, like do 5 minutes. Like I don't know if people are gonna be sharing what they're building, but I think throughout the month that'd be kind of interesting to see. Like, hey, what are you working on?
I agree. I think that'd be sick. I think if people don't come together to find teammates and like really build something of interest to them, like this is such a good forcing function to say like, oh shit, we really should like focus on that side project to make it a main thing. I'm excited, man. I think that this is going to kickstart so many new builders, so many people building their companies for the first time.
Yeah,
It's gonna be major. Let me
yeah.
tune in
I'm
real
curious
quick.
to see what you two decide to get into.
We're gonna talk about that. I text him an idea. It's
Okay,
not earth shattering, but it's something that I would use every day. I think
a
it's something that
to-do
you
list.
it is not. I think it's something that you would use every day. Okay. Okay.
Oh,
And so we're going to talk about it when Brett comes on. Brett's going to join us here in about 10 minutes, hang out, talk about this for a little bit. And then for everybody that's tuned in right now, after the show today, Brett and I are going to go live separately to start working on our hackathon project together. And it's going to be chaos. I don't know. Like Brett's a one-man band. Like I've been working with the same guys for a decade. So it's going to be interesting to see the two forces come together of like Mr. Solo and Mr. Like I'm deeply entrenched with my existing team members coming together to try and make something happen.
I didn't even
So
think about
we'll
this
see.
though. That's such an unlock. Like even if Brett doesn't do a significant part of the build, but he's using AI to like with his 7 form branding and all the things he's bringing to it, that would be a cool 1-2 punch. I wonder how many teams actually have a dedicated designer on their little co-founder thing.
I'm curious too because
I feel like
I
that's kind of
love
an
that
unlock.
tandem punch. Yeah, it is an unlock. It's like, yo,
Yeah.
you go make the UI, make it perfect. I'll get it right. All right. Like let's play. I just don't know if Brett's ready for like product owner hunter to like start coming in. He's really quickly gonna be like, I'm going back to fucking design joy, dude.
Just
You get in this
fucking
Trello board and leave me
whipping
alone.
him. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll see.
Well,
We'll
I'm
see.
happy to be your tight feedback loop. If it's something I'd use, you build for me. And I will check it out and give feedback.
That's
That
what
is
we're gonna
awesome.
do today. You're gonna be our
Your
first.
discovery interview.
Yeah, you're gonna be our first discovery interview because you would be a power user. Okay.
Oh,
You would be a power user. I mean, this thing would run your life. Trust me. Trust me.
okay.
Okay.
All
So
right.
we'll talk about it when Brett gets on, but that's my idea.
I love that. On top of that, there have been a couple things going on, and I'm a little excited to talk about some of these things. But we do have Weber Wong, the CEO of Flora Fauna. Now, we've seen a couple people, Riley Jones, if you're listening right now, I have seen what you've been dropping in Flora, and it's sick. And this is a fun tool. It's node-based UIs coming into creative. They call it a creative operating system, but it's just a way to like macro in and out of a whole bunch of different video editing, image editing models. And man, I have so many questions about if node-based interfaces are gonna work long term. I think
I don't
they're
think they will.
make a ton of sense, but I think they're like a whole new way of thinking about it. What do you think about those node-based stuff?
I think they're amazing for a point in time, right? But
Yeah.
I think that what we're going to continue to see with AI developments is that the modality in which you interact with technology is going to change so much.
Mhm.
I love it. I love node-based interfaces. I'm a big fan of what Flora is building, but I feel like it's one of those things to where it's beautiful at this point in time and it's going to
Mhm.
age out quickly. And it's like, okay, what
Ah.
does this come when I can talk to it and I can tell it what to do? Like, I feel like so
Oh,
much of this is just going to be like, how do I watch what it's giving me? You know what I mean? Like,
right.
how do I just kind of monitor the things it's doing, but I'm not necessarily the one orchestrating things across the board. Yo,
I've been
Damien,
having
what's
some
going on, man?
interesting conversations with these AI tool makers, and so many. There's a lot of similarities in the direction everyone's going. They think AI is going to be this, very agentic automation. It's going to either be quiet or it's going to be very, passive versus active listener. But the thing that is really different amongst these guys is the types of interface patterns they think we're going to be using in the future. I'm curious to see which one of those bets ends up making its way. But have you heard of Sky? Did you see this launch?
I did. I did. Yep.
So Sky is supposed to live on top of your Mac. This app, which is on waitlist right now. This thing just got announced. I love this branding, by the way. The branding is like a throwback to like the old Netscape era, but modernized a little bit. I love it, dude. I don't know why, but I'm loving the old is new again stuff. But this is sits on top of your Mac operating system, founded by former Apple teammates. Summer waitlist. Spotlight, just a Raycast meet Spotlight. They say this is going to change the way we work within our apps. It has access to absolutely every app that's open. It can tell what's open. You can summon things. You can jump through. It's an entire productivity app. This is your Raycast competitor. That's how I read it. Look at this.
Yeah.
What
Is
do you
it my
think?
Raycast competitor though?
Yeah.
I like it. It looks really exciting, but I worry that it's not quite like if you think about the things that maybe this isn't for a power user, but I would argue it probably is today for an early adopter that's kind of a power user. Raycast is better fit for my needs, right? Because
Hmm,
I
hmm.
can use the AI, I can configure MCPs. There's a lot of things that I can do to build my perfect little storm of productivity. Whereas this is like really limited to just what functions they've built. So like this seems awesome, but it seems like something I would use in tandem with Raycast versus replacing, in my opinion at least.
Right. I could see that. I could see that. Now, I want to call something out. And as I've watched this is the second time I've seen this. It is very similar to like it's easy to say, "Oh, this is just like an AI powered spotlight." And and here's what I want to say because I had this realization last week. I'm actually starting to become a bigger fan of existing workflows adding like practical AI on top of them. And I noticed that with what Framer launched with their AI workshop tool. The more I've played with that, I adore what Framer released in AI workshop.
Yep,
That feels
agreed.
it because it just creates a component right in your dashboard and the way you already work. So, we're used to all these big announcements, and we're certainly going to cover some of those today, but I've gotten so desensitized to like the overhype that I've come to really appreciate these practical like AI augmentations on top of things we're familiar with.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the Framer implementation workshop is so damn cool. Like, I think it's the perfect exploration of how to drop a useful AI feature into a tool that's already quite good without it trying to do everything, right? Because the problem right now with AI tools, or at least AI generation, outside of like raw code editors or tools like Bolt or something, is that you lose the ability to really micromanage everything. Like we'll talk
Yeah.
about Magic Path. Pietro finally launched
Mhm.
Magic Path.
Yes, he did.
Um, I'm going to be dropping a wonderful interview with him next Friday for Today in Design. Um,
Ooh.
but he dropped Magic
The
Path.
paper interview going hot right now, by the way.
Dude, I'm don't even get me going, man. I am so excited about YouTube. We were talking about this before we went live, but I'm going all in, dude. I'm already taking
Yes.
photos of my YouTube screenshots. I'm gonna be like, you know what I mean? Dude, I'm gonna go full cringe. I'm gonna be a thumbnail scientist.
I
Okay.
love this.
Because it's such a bullshit game. Ridge should kick my ass, right? He does Dive Club. Dive Club has got like 30,000 subscribers on YouTube. My interview with Stephen Haney, the same fucking content, has 4 times as many views on my brand new channel because of title and thumbnail. Because I was like, you
That's
know what?
insane.
I'm gonna do something a little different. I'm gonna go a little bit more cringe. I'm gonna do one of the like typical whatever, like
The Mr. Beast head shots. Yeah.
yeah, you want to know the best part? So Mr. Petter Knoll, shout out Petter Knoll, just took like a photo of me, like my Twitter standard kind of headshot,
Right.
ran it through Kriya and created a model of all these different expressions of me that we can use for the thumbnails. So we basically have
Oh,
infinite levels of thumbnails. And dude, you should do this too for the media stuff that you're going to be doing, the shows and things like that. But man, it's pretty wild.
we are not sponsored by by Flora, but that is one use case because we do thumbnails for our newsletter. We're going to need thumbnails for the YouTube. That's actually a real. I told them, I said, man, it'd be great to just have like a brand kit, like set rules, and always have that as the starting point, and then just be able to prompt a bunch of variations you could pick from. That makes that interface really interesting to me.
I think
Just
so
a
too.
call out on that,
Yep.
you know.
I think that could be
But
cool.
now talking a little bit about the stuff that's coming out that's way out of left field, crazy stuff, man. Do you see Odyssey ML?
No, dude. What is this?
Dude, check this out for a second. I don't really know the use case here yet. I mean, I can think about it, but I just want you to like look at this,
I like
and
the
you're not
logo.
going to be able to hear the audio here. All right. These are interactive video technology. And it's like, uh, this is all video generated at 30 frames per second. So I can use my keyboard. This is all video, and it's being randomly generated, and it's an explorable environment. Runs on NVIDIA H100 GPU clusters. Like I'm trying to wrap my head. Like I can see that this is early experimental tech, and that's what they call it. But this is kind of crazy, man. This is
What
all
blows
generated right here.
what blows my mind about experiences like this, and this is really serious. So I have a Vision Pro. Okay. I've got
Mhm.
a Meta Quest Pro. Like I've tried the VR world. Now I do actually use my Vision Pro, but the only thing I do 2 things in my Vision Pro. I watch movies in my theater, which honestly, like that's worth $3,500 fucking alone. Is slap that thing on, throw your AirPods in. You were sitting front row in a gigantic movie theater. Nobody's bothering you. It's amazing. But the second use case, I'll put my Vision Pro on. Like, so I was just at my house in Louisville for the past week. I don't have I'm still refinishing my basement, so I don't have like an office, right? So I'll literally sit in bed, throw the Vision Pro on, and I'll mirror my laptop screen.
Mhm.
So I've got a giant like 200-foot ultra wide monitor. I turn on an environment to where I'm sitting at like, Mount Hood. It's raining, the lake's in front of me. I get so much work done. It's unbelievable. It is. If you were to ask me, like, Hunter, what is your cheat code to being productive? I would say put on your Vision Pro. Seriously, I would.
Interesting. You just have a movie going
But
on the side?
nope, nope.
No
Just
movie.
pure focus. Pure
Okay.
focus. Um, but that technology is great. Now, obviously, we're going to talk about like compressing it to glasses and like all that. But what it's missing is the technological equivalent in terms of generative environments and generative things that you can do. So when I see something like Odyssey, all I think about is like that is a glimpse into the Ready Player One future that we were promised.
Right. Yes. I think so. And I mean, listen, this is very experimental, and you've got to imagine like they're trying to first solve probably the hardest part of this equation to get to the next one. But it's interesting to see how far they already are in that. That's a wild thing to just even walk through that. So I would highly recommend anyone who just wants to mess around a little bit to check that out. Who just jumped in with us, Hunter?
I think somebody that actually also has $3,500 to waste on a Vision Pro. What's going on, Mr. Brett?
What's up? What's up? I was
Nice.
looking at him yesterday, but not good reviews on him, so still holding out.
Listen. Trust my review. I just gave you the 2 use cases. Okay, if those use cases are interesting to you, just buy one. Okay.
I want to
Maybe
call
one
out
day.
the creative department hat. I have that. That's a fantastic hat, by the way. Love that hat.
Yes.
And I also want to call out. I think Nick runs creative department, right? Is that true?
Yep.
I've been trying to reach out to them. I want to find out.
Oh, dude,
I
yeah.
heard they do drops for stuff, and I want to find out what
I'm
that
doing
was
one
like.
with them. Yeah, I'm doing
Oh,
one with
you
them.
are. That's right. You
Mhm.
are. So I want to. That would be a sick thing to do. I love their quality. Quality
Yeah,
is a
man.
big thing.
I know. I see with Perplexity that they hand make everything, bro.
That's crazy.
Crazy. He
Where
sent
do
me.
you? If
Yeah,
you
go
guys
ahead.
want dope stuff, obviously you went to creative department. Hunter, when
Yeah.
you want dope merch, like what do you guys look for? I mean, I've heard LA Apparel's obviously like kind of the premium there, but I've heard even that's a little cliche today. Like, what is it, Carhartt? Like, where do you go for like the premium materials of apparel?
Dude, I don't have an answer. We're
No?
still looking for one. Yeah, like we
Why is
have,
it such a hard problem? I feel like this isn't an
dude,
easy
it
solve.
is. We have
That's
endless pages of like sweet swag material,
uh-huh.
and we've just never ordered it because we can't nail down like what's the actual
Yeah.
stuff that we want that isn't like us
Yeah.
buying like 3 pieces ourselves and then paying a shit ton to have somebody do it for us.
Right. And then House of Blanks was like another one that I
Mhm.
heard is supposed. So anyway, just wanted to call
Yeah.
out.
No. Nick is he's the goat at material and design. I mean, he sent me. We were doing hats, right? And he sent me these pictures of it, like just a flat material. I'm like, you're going to turn that mess into a hat, and then they did. So he shares the same frustration. That's why he just built his own factory and hired his own people to do it. Pretty
That's
crazy and
crazy.
ambitious, but that's
That
what you
is
have to
cool.
do.
I like it.
Well, hey boys,
like it a
I
lot.
want to hear a little bit about what you got going on because we were just talking about this, Brett, and I think the unlock here for you two
Mhm.
is
Yeah.
going to be the fact that there's a freaking one of the fastest designers out there. And then you've got the builder. You both of you coming together. That's going to be like I feel like that puts you probably already in the top 10% of what we say 80,000
Ooh.
people participating.
No, dude. No, listen. Let's be honest. We're either in the top 1% or we're complete idiots and we're actually in the bottom 90%. I don't know
Okay.
which it is. Okay. It's one or the other. Okay. Now listen, here's the deal. I want to set the stage real quick. All right, gentlemen. I want to set the stage. And I want to set the stage for all the people watching. What you were about to see live, okay? Brett and I committed to doing hackathon. When did it happen? Last night.
Last night.
But we committed, okay? And the conversation was like, what are we gonna build? And I threw out an idea, and then we were both like, oh, that sounds cool but complex. And I was like, well, hold on. I have another thought. And Brett instantly was like, dude, yes, that plagues me as well. Okay. Brett, what did I text you?
I mean, do you want me to read it?
I mean, if you want to, I'm probably gonna sound like a fucking
I mean, you want me to
incoherent
read?
nutso. Okay, I'll get to the point.
Yeah, you do it.
Here's the concept, and everybody chime in. Here's what we're gonna do as a team. So, Tommy, you're gonna be our first discovery user because you're a power user.
I'm the founding user. Let's go.
Chat is gonna also tell us their wants and their wishes. Okay.
Okay.
Here's what I proposed. It basically was this. I hate every web bookmarking tool on the market. All of them
Mhm.
Yes.
suck.
Mhm.
None of them make me
I like
happy. I would say the closest is my mind, but that I also just here's my problem with my mind. Like it's pretty, but it's useless to me. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't do like auto categorization well. The reader is not great. I want more AI involved. So if I save something, like let's say we're prepping research for the show and I save something about a news article, I want it on the side to be like, hey, here's other stuff about this thing you just saved.
Yeah.
Right. I
Yeah.
want it to surface more for me. I want to be able to kind of have a slight research element there, right? Um,
Yes.
there's like Sublime, I think is what it's called, Sublime.app or something like that. It's a bookmarking tool. But that I tried to use and I was like, yo,
You
this
know
is
who I
not for
thought
me.
was gonna have it locked in for a second, and then they kind of went off the. Oh, that's interesting. I haven't seen this one.
I mean, either.
And
Hmm.
Cubby. So Cubby
Yep.
tried to do something too, and they kind of lost me. I want it simple. I want it to feel like invisible air, and I want it to still do everything I absolutely need as a content researcher, a topic researcher.
Yeah. My thing is I
Yes.
don't want anything that makes me do any work.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Yes.
And
Yes.
that's the biggest thing is I got enough shit to do. If I'm gonna save something on the web and I'm gonna pull it back up, I want it to be seamless. Like I want it to be a beautiful interaction to where it's like, yo, dude, I got you. I'm not trying
Mhm.
to create more work for you. I'm not trying to have you drag shit around on a canvas and like take your own notes. I got you. That's what I want to exist.
Just call it like ether. Just call it ether. Just shoot it
Either.
out into
Oh shit.
Yeah, and
Brett, can we get a brand in 60 seconds?
the.
maybe 60 minutes. No, I mean,
No, if you guys make
I-
this, I will fucking use this permanently. Please make this. I need this so
well,
That's
that's
what I'm
bad.
saying. We should
the whole
make it.
point. That's the whole point. I mean, I think this will start off as a friendly hackathon project, but it could spiral into something bigger. I'm more interested to just see what these tools can do. I'll be honest with you. I've used them maybe a total of 10 minutes in my lifetime. So, um, I'll be looking to Hunter to tell me, no, shithead, like that's not possible, or this is gonna be take too long or too difficult. But I think we'll do several streams, right? Over the course of
Yeah,
the
yeah.
next
We're gonna do
month. I think
several.
the competition ends a month from today. I thought it
Yeah,
was
we're gonna
today.
do several.
I texted Hunter. He goes, "Yeah, let's just do it over there." I'm like, "No, the hackathon's today." Okay, turns out I was wrong. It's actually the full month. So we'll do. I think we're gonna do like a light stream today. Just kind of we haven't even talked about it. Just exploring
No.
what the hell we're even gonna build, what it's gonna do, what's gonna look like. Then we're gonna get to work. Come back next week, continue to build on it, and who knows?
Yep.
Maybe it'll turn out something that we can actually release.
So
That'd
Harrison,
be
the
I think
founder
I,
of
I think we'll.
Flowglad, says the problem with all these bookmarking tools is they start simple, then get bloated. 100%
Yeah,
every single time, man. Every single time.
that's
People
every
need to
tool,
lean
really. Mhm.
into progressive disclosure if they want to become, yeah. Yeah. I mean, listen, it's that is how it goes. So what is the most bare minimum beautiful experience you can get? And there's got to be some elements. Like at some point you have to create an organization structure, or I guess do you? I don't know. Can you automate that entirely?
I think that would be the goal, right? Is like there's the tension of it should be smart and AI should categorize as much as possible, but
Right.
also wanting some control over it, right? Wanting some
Mhm.
control of like, oh hey, this thing is like, I don't know, camping equipment stuff that I'm looking at. This thing is like family inspiration for, I don't know, a birthday party, like whatever, right? Here's stuff I'm saving for a vacation, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Like that's kind of the way I would look at it is those little things. That's pretty interesting. So we got an important question here. Clow asks, Hunter, are you going to use only Bolt or can you pull it inside of Windsurf from time to time? Here's my honest answer. I have no fucking idea. All right. I think we should all read the rules together. So
They have a
how does
Discord.
it work?
They have a
It's pretty
Discord.
loose.
Yeah, they have a Discord, and I'm not an official Bolt representative on this contest. Go to the Discord. There's a rules channel, but I looked into it last night. I was thinking about signing up and letting my kid have some fun with it. You can, as long as you generate in Bolt, I don't think there's restriction. You can take it and code it any other way you want after it's essentially been generated with Bolt.
Yep.
Right.
All right. I'm in Discord. Let's
Okay.
hop in here and whoa. Oh, come on, man.
Uh-oh.
I was in
Look, here
Discord.
we go. Here we go. Yeah.
I don't know what my password would be. I don't.
Get your house in
didn't-
order, Hunter.
Dude, I didn't.
Stream
I
looking a
literally
lot
just-
better today, by the way.
Thank you. I
It is.
just clicked the thing. I don't know what's going on.
I do this.
Yeah.
I have the same exact problem every time I try to sign into Discord.
Do you use Discord? I mean, I know you've got your community in Discord. Do you use it pretty
Yeah.
heavily, Brett?
Yeah, I mean, not heavily, but I have Midjourney hooked up to it, so that's how I sign in. So every time I have to log into Midjourney, wherever it's like I go through this whole process where I have to reset my password and all this
You have
shit.
to do
So
like two sets of user auth to log into Midjourney.
yeah, it's terrible. It's
That's funny.
terrible.
I would
But
definitely
no.
buy that if screenshots could integrate into the logic. That would be awesome too. 100%, guys. I want to know. Like, I love that I can copy an image over to any of my LLMs and it can understand it. I need that for video. Like, I need to be able to record my screen going through someone like a design workflow and pulling like steps out of that workflow. Like, I want more.
Oh, there's a tool for that. I just got a DM from him yesterday.
Oh, really? Yeah, I want
Yeah.
that. I want that just in general. Like, I want to be able to
Mhm.
look at a video and get a pretty accurate description about what it just watched.
Oh, okay. So you're talking about something different. This was a tool that basically took content you created via video and turned it into like a step-by-step course tutorial.
Oh,
But you're
that's
talking about like
interesting.
watching a video and summarizing
To, to
essentially.
to get context, not just from
Mhm.
transcript, from the images, from like the actual
Sure.
visual
Yeah.
of the video. Like, that's,
Mhm.
and I imagine I feel like when you ask Grok or Perplexity in X, it can do that sometimes. I
Mhm.
don't really know what's happening there. So,
Funny enough, that was the first idea I had for this hackathon, was something very similar to that.
yeah, I like that. I like that.
Where are
We're
the
watching Hunter
rules?
navigate Discord. Hunter is obviously a
Yeah, good
Discord super
luck.
user.
Read the rules.
Are you guys more
Jesus
Slack or more
Christ.
Discord? I hate both, but
I use both.
Slack.
I like Slack, man. I'm more used to it. But I've really Discord updated the UI recently. It's pretty good. Well, yeah, here we go. These are the rules.
All right. So submission period is between today and June 30th. Okay. Judging period is the 7th.
You got to
June.
sign
All
up
right.
today. I think you can still sign up today.
Yeah. Okay. So eligibility, teams of individuals. The hackathon is not open to
What's up,
whatever,
Adrian?
how to enter, how. Okay. Project requirements. Entrants must build a new application primarily with Bolt.new. The project can be built completely with Bolt.new or significantly started on Bolt.new as determined by sponsor in its sole discretion. The publicly deployed version of the project interface must include a badge that highlights that it is built with Bolt.new. See guidance here. We recognize that not every part of the development process may be suited to Bolt. The core functionality and final experience must run within Bolt. A light degree of flexibility is allowed, but the focus must remain on showcasing Bolt as the primary platform. Okay, here we go. Structure and main development must begin in Bolt. It must demonstrate meaningful use of Bolt's capabilities and be functional entirely within the Bolt environment. Tools like Figma, ChatGPT, and other AI code assistants may be used for idea development, design, prototyping, etc. Badge requirements that are clearly and primarily built on Bolt. Challenge requirements. Okay, so
My interpretation is like, you use Bolt. You could probably, I'm sure if you took like, it's kind of loose. This is a loose definition. It sounds like you could probably take it out. As long as it's scaffolds in Bolt, you could probably mess with it, do some stuff. But
yeah,
as long as you bring it back into Bolt, which you can do
yeah,
now, I think
yep.
they'll be happy.
That seems to be correct. Yeah, that seems to be correct. So we got some challenge requirements though. If your project also meets any one or more of the following challenge requirements, it may be eligible for the challenge prizes. That's cool. So use Revenue Cap Mobile SDK and Revenue Cap Paywall Builder to acquire subscribers. Okay, check. So Brett, we can't use Stripe. Use entry to get an IANOS domain name. Okay. Build an app in Algorand where blockchain powers. No, thank you. Use Tavis to bring AI video agents. That's interesting.
You can't use Stripe?
No, you can. It's just a project or challenge if you do revenue.
Yeah, it's just like Build Wars. How you get extra points if you complete the challenge. Yeah,
got it.
New projects only. All right, so I mean, it sounds to me like we would be totally within our rights to start with Bolt, like have Bolt scaffold a lot of the initial elements of the experience. Probably do a lot of the stuff in Supabase, building our database, our seed, all those things. And then for a lot of the tighter integrations to where we need to like probably build like a Chrome extension or little things like that. or
Yeah.
integrate with other APIs, we could probably pull that out as long as we don't fundamentally change the source of the app. Build those things in something like Cursor, sync
Mhm.
it to GitHub, pull it back into Bolt, make sure it works in Bolt, and keep that process going, and you're okay.
Yeah.
Seems to be right.
I
And
like
then in
what
that
Francis said.
case, I'm not
I
worried about what we can do.
I wanted to Brett, I wanted to call out what Francis said too. Guys, I think you should focus on this. Like it
I
says
agree.
it would be cool to be able to grab Instagram, TikTok, X bookmarks in one place.
Oh,
Everyone
man.
starts with like web clips of articles, but dude, that's true. The things I save like are probably 90% social media.
It is.
And it's like it's focus on just like social media's clippings. Like I
Yeah.
saved that in a really smooth way. I don't think someone
Yeah.
focused there yet.
Dude, so you know what I would do? Go ahead, Brett. Sorry, buddy.
No, you go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say is what I would do, and I'm not gonna get crazy into this because Brett and I are gonna stream a little later, and we're gonna like dive much more into this. But the very first step, and I'm gonna use Opus for an example. I'm gonna say I'm thinking here. I'll just dictate it. I'm thinking about building a new web app that allows me to aggregate all of my bookmarks. So across my web browser, across Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, etc. I want to visually see them in a beautiful way, auto categorize them all with AI. And then ideally, if I'm looking at one bookmark, let's say it's a web bookmark about a hiking backpack, AI will suggest similar products like that for me in a sidebar experience. Think about how I could build this, research the APIs for TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, etc., and see if they have the ability for me to extract my bookmarks, sync them in real time to this tool. So that's the first thing I would do. I would just start with a little research in Opus, have it search the web, and then what I would do, and I'll show people this later, I would go and I'd create PRDs, right? I'd go and I'd create like pretty detailed PRDs of how I want this application to work. I would start chunking those out, and then having probably Opus or O3 write actual prompts for Bolt
That's right.
that I run based on my implementation plan, and keep that all in sync. That's basically the workflow I use in something like Cursor. So I'd have to see how that works.
This is awesome. And so but by the way, someone asked here, Thomas, I would love to see you guys stream this process. They are. How long after the stream are you guys going live?
Probably right after.
Right after.
Getting right into it.
So I want to call something out here. As I'm thinking about this, and we said there's what, like 80,000, 60 to 80,000 people's doing this thing. This is over the next 30 days. It ends June 30th. This is going to be a microcosm of what's actually about to happen in the world over the next 32 months, whatever the case, right? Where so many people are taking their software to market. And the question is like, okay, that's great. Everyone kind of has this equal playing field and will be judged. But the people who find a way to get their ideas, surfacing to the top, to get visibility, to get hype, I have a feeling those are going to be the ones that surface and become popular and probably become the winners.
I think so.
And so what do you
Yeah.
have? You have these different people covering this. Greg Eisenberg, we're going to do it on the show. I'm doing it separately. There's probably going to be plenty of people on X. Share your process. I think people are going to be afraid to talk about what they're building because people are going to scare it or be afraid that people are going to steal it. Share it because if you don't share it, you're going to have a harder time making it on these radars. And I think you stand to gain if you share it and your stuff gets distributed by everybody covering this.
Absolutely.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. I think like if I'm thinking about the judging criteria of this, obviously I think, putting myself in the shoes of a judge, right? I'm going to think about, okay, is what you built like new and interesting and relevant to trends? I'm going to think about it. Is it interesting? Are you doing something technically that pushes Bolt to the edges and shows us like real expertise in what you've built, right? I think that's another thing. But I would be an absolute fool if I wasn't judging the actual winner based on, are people using this? Is it making money? Do people like it? Like, is this something that actually is creating utility for people, or is it something that you just built that's shiny and new, right? So I think what Brett and I could do if we live streamed, we were really focused. I'm gonna tell you what, I've been literally in code mode all day, every day since Claude 4 dropped. And I'm gonna tell you this without a fucking doubt. We can build whatever we want and we can build it quickly, right? So we could put this together really quickly and have something that's like extremely usable. Pretty fast, like within a week, right? Now it depends on if Brett and I are like, we're only going to work on it on stream, which I think would be interesting and add challenge to it.
Sure.
But I think we could have something released within 2 weeks for sure. And then we have 2 weeks to get hype, get users, whatever. And I think Brett and I have demonstrated that we can definitely do that.
Well, let's continue to talk about this too, but I want to call out, tag us. If you were building something and over the next week or two, you start to make progress or you want to show us a little screen recording of what you've got going on, tag us in it. We will showcase that stuff in little 5-10 minute segments on the show throughout the next couple of weeks. So definitely build in public around this. But I want to ask you guys something. Do you see this Perplexity release?
No.
Yeah, what the hell is it?
All
Labs?
right. Perplexity Labs. All right. Interesting. I keep saying this. Every freaking app is just going to generate code, man. This is going to happen. All right. Now, the thing about this is Perplexity Labs does a number of things, first of all. All right. And I want to call it out. For example, I asked it to create a news dashboard of all relevant AI product and features and funding announcements. Give me something I can see that we can talk about on shows like this. Not perfect and something I would finesse, but in a one shot, I got a dashboard that is interactive. I didn't tell it how to build this. I just said, give me stuff that I can look at. It gave me a fully functional filter. It pulled in some news items. These aren't the ones I'd want to see, but it pulled it from sentiment. I haven't checked this for accuracy. I can refresh the data. So this is interesting, right? There's more I'd want to play with this, and that people have been sharing examples of how they're using this for like tracking the financial markets and things like that. But in addition, people are doing things just like creating little snake games. I mean, they're no coding. They're just prompting actual coded stuff. And so, you know, I went over here and I've always wanted to create a D&D app. You know, one day we'll do this, probably this Christmas for fun. It's when I like to do fun projects. So I just was like, hey, can you create my little Dungeon Master Control Center app where I can control my mood lighting and the music? And it just kind of
Such a nerd.
I am such a nerd. and I one-shotted it. It actually APIs into Philips Hue Bridge in one shot, dude.
Yep.
Really?
Yep.
In one shot it did this.
Hell yeah.
This isn't
dude.
Perplexity.
Oh, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah. So just saying, like, pretty interesting, this Perplexity Labs drop that they just did here. All right. Got to call it out.
Is it building this in line with the chat interface, or is this like a tool just like Bolt?
Yeah, it's just right here in the chat interface,
like,
right? Like you come over
it's
here.
Just in line, huh? That's an interesting
so
concept.
you switch over here to their Labs toggle. Kind of gives you some, ideas, but pretty interesting, man. I'm telling you, Perplexity, dude. Big fan.
The Lewis Hamilton stuff was crazy. You saw that?
Yeah, I did. The driver,
dude. I mean, that was all very clearly AI generated, right?
The whole animation and everything.
Like Lewis Hamilton in the video. Do you think that was all AI?
I don't know if I saw I saw only part of that.
Oh, you didn't see the video release?
No,
it was crazy. I think it was all AI, but he's in it like in several different occasions, and I think it's purely all just AI generated.
Have you been seeing all the stuff people are generating with the video? And they're like, not the kangaroo. Did you see the emotional support kangaroo in the airport video? And it went viral. And for a minute, people were like, no, you should have let that emotional support kangaroo on the plane. They're like, no, this was AI generated, guys. Like, this was not a real thing.
I would love to just be able to sit around and come up with the cool shit like that all the time.
Well, and I think this is why this is interesting. I didn't see a lot of people talking about this, but Time just released an image of this. Looks like what's the Half-Life game? What am I talking about? Half-Life World game?
Is it Half-Life?
No.
The game.
Damn it! Someone tell me it's Portal.
Oh, dude, I love Portal.
Kind of reminds me of that, but this is the orb. This is a product apparently that I had no idea that Sam Altman is a co-founder of. And the orb, so the whole thing about the orb, from my understanding, is this is a project that's meant to scan the human's retina in this like softball-sized orb and determine if you're AI or not. It essentially creates this like unique 12,800 digit world ID for people. And so I don't know. It's a whole thing. There's a reward system for WorldCoin cryptocurrency. I don't understand this at all. But apparently Time said, hey, you're going on the cover of our magazine because this is all about determining if you're human. The orb, ladies and gentlemen.
Can we talk about something else involving our boy Sam Altman real quick?
Let's do it.
Did you see the news that the United Arab Emirates is going to give every citizen ChatGPT Pro?
No. I knew he was over there shaking hands.
If you live in the UAE, you're going to get top of the line ChatGPT membership.
That's kind of a big
free,
deal, dude.
Right?
For free.
Let me ask you this. Outside of just like, you know, what the potential benefits of the UAE having every citizen with access to ChatGPT, like what the productivity benefits could be, right? Outside of that, when have you seen the CEO of a non-publicly traded, actually, I don't even think it matters. When have you seen the CEO of a company make a deal with an entire fucking country?
Right. Yeah.
Like, yo, listen. Everybody else is worried about selling like a universal license to Microsoft. Nah, dog. I'm going after the UAE. Like, I saw somebody tweet out talking about this. They were like, Sam Altman is inevitable. Yeah. And it just continues.
Well, and I wonder, as we're talking about that, what are the second order effects of having an entire data set influenced by like every citizen having access to it now in that country? It's kind of interesting to think about. And someone smarter than me may understand if that's even a worthwhile thought or not. But that seems like, interesting.
It's interesting.
We get trained on all of that. V0, we haven't heard about these guys in a while. Where have they been? I don't know. Building design mode, apparently. This is coming soon. Kind of feel like we got a little more excited about V0 releases earlier this year.
Mm-hmm. I mean, this is just what they're following suit with. I mean, this is the exact same UI that everyone else has at this point.
Yeah. I don't know. I want to be excited about it. I love the Vercel team. I think they got some dope folks over there, but this seems a little like, okay, is V0 being deprioritized?
I don't know.
Hunter, you sound like you're in a tin can.
It does, yeah.
Give me a sentence there, Hunter.
Listen.
No, you're good now.
Listen up. I swapped my audio real quick because of the was back. Gotcha. I'm working. This is extended all the way to talking to my ISP. Like it's a whole thing. It's the bit rate on uploads. But I don't know, man. I'm interested to see what they do here. This is interesting.
Speaking of Altman making deals with countries, Zuck's out here not to be one-upped by the Johnny Ive announcement, partnering up with Anduril. AR/VR for military, for Miltech. Kind of interesting.
I'm excited. Parker is the man.
I don't know much about his background, but this is Meta's Reality Labs, dude. I'll tell you what, like, I mean, Zuck's out there doing the tours. You know, he's in the media, and I don't think everyone's sleeping on him, but I think there's like a part of the conversation that's being slept on with Zuck that I think Zuck's also a little inevitable.
100%.
I don't think he's getting enough credit for that yet.
Agree.
I think he is getting enough credit for that.
Yeah.
You think so? I don't know. I feel like maybe I'm just too like in the weeds of things, and I have a blind spot there. But yeah, okay.
Let me double check this. Meta market cap 1.61 trillion.
Sure.
Yeah, I would say when you've built a $1.6 trillion company, you've gotten the respect for being inevitable.
From the hype machine, maybe is my point. But maybe even there, he's getting it too. And I'm just, like I said, blind spot wouldn't be the first time.
My dog basically bought Hawaii. He's inevitable.
I feel like Zuck is kind of a wild card. Like you never know what the hell he's gonna do. I mean, he changed his appearance overnight. He's doing all this weird stuff, but I think it works. I mean, I don't know.
I want to talk to you guys about something though, because like we look at Sam, we look at Zuck, and all these people who just move at this clip, right? And I'm holding on to clock speed. That's my favorite term for the year, right? And you two kind of move at this crazy clock speed as well. And I'm kind of learning about how to. So let's turn this into a therapy session for a quick second. Moving fast, whether it's like you're deep into some design work and you're moving across projects, or you're moving across companies, you're spinning up initiatives. As builders, there comes some point where you start flying, but it's also incredibly, I find it to be kind of scary, because it's like, whoa, I'm moving so fast. If I make a step, I might like fall off of this thing I'm catching. How do you guys deal with moving really fast? Like, do you ever get anxious about moving quick? No? Just keep it moving? Just me? Okay.
It's all I've
Dude,
ever known.
I'll tell you this. I find when I sit down and I'm like, I need like a bigger, better strategy. That's when things get fucked up.
Mhm.
I think
Like when you
things are
start to
best when
overthink
it's
it.
like,
Yeah.
I think things are best when it's like, yo, I'm so crystal clear on what I'm doing right now is what I want to be doing, that like I don't need to think about it. I just need to go. That's how I feel.
I think for me, it's like one of the unlocks for me, and it's taken me, I'm 38 now. It's taken me so long to really appreciate adding team members and doing it like in a way that builds more velocity. But then it's like, oh man, like things start to move really fast. And so that, I think, unlocked for me, and anyone who's ever scaled their business from like 1 to 10, you might experience this. That feels like, whoa, you got to get used to that new constant speed that maybe you weren't used to. I think maybe that's where I'm seeing some interesting insights.
Are we about to have a therapy session? Dive
That's what
deeper
I'm
into
telling
what's
you.
going on with you, Tommy. Dive
There
deeper.
are builders in this in our audience here who I know are experiencing this right now. We just saw Harrison in here, and I know that there's a lot of people who are co-founding companies or who might come out of this Bolt challenge and have to deal with, oh, we got to get a team now, and we can move faster now. And speed, especially in this AI era, this is how I look at it. Like learning how to move fast, you kind of have to learn how to move fast.
Mhm.
I think you can learn how. I think you can be somebody who hasn't moved, 10x. Maybe you've moved 2x, and I think you can learn to move 10x. But I do think there are things you have to start to learn how to do to continue a pace at 10x. Do you agree?
Yes, I agree.
And I'm
Yeah,
just
I
asking.
agree.
I'm asking, what are those
No, I
things,
agree.
man?
I agree. I think you have to be obsessed though. Like that's the thing with speed is like,
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
you have to be obsessed. I'll tell you a story. So we were planning this huge announcement on June the 23rd. For a lot of stuff with off menu specifically, like an expansion of services and like all these things. And over the past few days, we stumbled into something and we're like, oh no, that we can't stop thinking about. We can't stop working on it. Right. Like it's one thing to think about something a lot. It's another thing to be like, I literally don't want to do anything else because all I want to do is work on this one thing. Everything else feels like it's getting in the way of me doing this one thing. Right. And when you have that, you got to ask yourself, like, okay, what are my other commitments? And Tommy, I think you know this right now. You're kind of going through this. What are my other commitments here? What do I have? Right. And we made the decision to just completely say, you know what? Doing that expansion, announcing all that stuff, that's not right for us because honestly, it's at odds with what it is that we're trying to do. It's at odds with the bet that we're trying to make. And we don't even have to ask ourselves, like, is this the right strategic decision or is this what we really want to do? Because it's literally the only thing we can talk about, think about, work on. Like it's just that.
Yeah.
So we're going to be making an announcement about something else instead.
Yeah, just to piggyback onto that though, kind of coming up, building things and stuff like that, and having a little bit of success. Like I have an obsessive personality disorder. It's something that I've personally like kind of internally struggled with for a really long time, and this exists outside of business. It's really any hobby that I get into, any video game, anything that I take up, and it's like I used to look at it as this like really negative thing, because I took time and attention away from my family, my kids. It's like I also at the same time in a weird way like attribute to my success to that kind of obsession kind of thing as well. So yeah, I mean I think you do have to be like I'm like when I get on something, whether it's a business or I'm like balls to the wall, all in, you know.
Mhm.
And I think that is for those that struggle with that obsessive disorder. I think it's probably a good thing too in a lot of ways. If you're, I think if you look at the traits of a lot of successful entrepreneurs, they have something very similar. So yeah, it's just something I've kind of been thinking about lately. But
Well, did you see this? So this is what was interesting to me, and I was thinking a lot about this. So Lenny Rachitsky, big influencer, in the product space, has a really great background in product. And he did a survey asking all the various roles in tech, from founders to individual contributors, what levels of burnout and general sentiment across the market. So, what was kind of trending, and I know a lot of people saw this, was the design role sitting at the tippy top of burnout at 24%. And so, there's a lot of discourse around that. I have thoughts about it. But at the very bottom of this list were founders. And I
interesting.
thought that that was really interesting because you're right, dude. I think founders have to be obsessed. And I think the way
Hmm.
founders move, get criticized a lot because it's like it's all hustle culture and it's all this stuff. And unless you're like a lifestyle founder, founders just typically are working all the time. And so there were a lot of people I heard from who said there's no way this is accurate with founders at the bottom. And I think people are associating amount of work with level of burnout. And that's not I don't think that's not the algebra to burnout. Do you guys feel burnt out often as founders of your companies?
Never. No, I'll tell you
I
this.
did when I worked for someone else.
Yeah, everybody that's an employee is fucking soft when it comes to workload. Like I'm dead serious,
Hmm.
and I'm not even trying to mince words here. I'm saying like the amount of stuff you have to do when you run a company, when you have people whose livelihood depends on you, it's just an absolute never-ending mountain of tasks and constraints and worries and all these things to juggle all the time. And if you don't look at those things and be like, God damn, I'm excited to like hop in there and fucking fight through these issues and solve these problems, then you're just not going to be a founder. You're just not cut out. And you're probably going to fall into that 15% of people that are like, this isn't right for me. Or what I've seen is that you've raised money and you're basically back to being an employee. You raise a lot of
Yeah.
venture, you're working for a board, you're always chasing like the next board meeting, getting the slides
Mm,
ready, and you're going to burn yourself out because you've lost that sense of control, that sense of freedom. But if you're a designer and
Hmm.
you're working for some big company and they're pushing you on deadlines and you're always trying to keep your VP of product happy, whatever it is, yeah, you're going to feel burned out, right? Like
yeah.
it's just a total difference in mindset.
I think there's probably a couple ingredients that really determine your level of burnout. And I think one of them is how closely are you to the feedback loop of whether the things you're doing are
Mhm.
actually like
Yep.
having any sort of impact
Hmm.
on the things that you want to have impact on. I think that's huge. So I mean, sometimes it's just
Yep.
like how close are you to your customer, and obviously as founders, like we feel it. Like you eat what you kill, so you have no illusions about what you're doing. Whereas like sometimes like designers live in that like ideation space where sometimes they work so hard on the ideation part and it doesn't even make it outside of that little silo, or sometimes they don't have access to that. I think that's one ingredient to this burnout conversation. I
Mhm.
think the other is just level of grit and your point of reference to pain. I think pain is relative for everybody, but I think for
Hmm.
those of us who've experienced a wide spectrum of very painful experiences, it does help you have more perspective. Like, oh fuck, I got to go have this hard conversation with my PM today. It's like, okay,
Mhm.
go have the hard conversation, like chin up, go get a LaCroix. It's going to be okay. It's not helpful to tell somebody like, hey, it could always be worse, because if they don't know that, it's not going to help them. But if you have the ability as a point of reference to know that yourself, it helps a lot of this stuff stay into perspective, I think.
Yep. I think that's spot on.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Preach.
Moral of this story is go build your own damn thing.
I'm a big fan, and I think we're going to see a lot of that. I think we're going to see a lot more of that. And I love seeing. So I didn't even know this with the Bolt um, hackathon. Dev Post is where they hosted this thing, and you go to devpost.com. I think. In fact, let's do this real quick.
Hmm.
Right, devpost.com. Is that what this is? So I've never heard of this, and this was pretty cool to me. there's like a shit ton of hackathons going on with
Oh yeah.
prizes and participants. Like, this is a whole thing. I mean, Bolt's leading,
Hello.
you know? Um, I mean, if dude,
Leading's an understatement.
yeah, but the
Hmm.
thing is if I was like a student or something, like I would be doing this like all day. I would be having so much fun with this stuff.
Oh yeah.
This is the way to learn this, man. I got to get my kids in on this.
Dude,
Speaking of
Do your
I
which,
kids
feel the
play
same
around
way.
Bolt at all?
I
I mean,
have
you guys both have
two of them do.
teens, right? So,
Mhm.
do you see them kind of following? I mean, interested as a dad of. I have a 7-year-old and 5-year-old and 3-year-old. They're far from thinking about careers, but like as dads of teens, do you guys see them kind of following in your footsteps at all?
Mm,
Not entirely
mm.
yet. They're very athletic, a couple of them,
Okay.
and then one of them is insanely artistic. So that he's the
Okay.
one I'm
So
really
that,
showing a
yeah.
lot more. I'm leaning into this. I'm
Hmm.
leaning into their interests. But any kind of coding any of them do, and multiple of them enjoy that, is completely centered around I want to create a game. Right.
Sure.
Mm.
So like I got a windsurf and a Bolt subscription for my son who's incredibly artistic, and he connected a whole workflow up to Unity. And so he's going into Unity. He already knows how to use Unity. He's in there doing stuff. And then he'll go to windsurf. It'll generate the assets in his Unity project. He opens up the Unity interface. He sees it come to action in real time. I'm like, oh, that's pretty sick, dude. And I kind of like seeing, I'll show him little shortcuts and workarounds, but then I step back because I
Yeah.
kind of like I love seeing brand new people go into this creation space not knowing, oh, I'm supposed to do it this
Yes.
way, because they just
Mhm.
start fucking making things happen, and that's like you never get that innocence back. You never get that back. And so it's always interesting to see, like, if left to your own devices without all the social pressures of how it's supposed to be done, what do you do? And it's really easy to duct tape these things together now. So that's kind of where he's at with it.
That's dope.
Yeah. I love that. This state of play, guys. I want to ask you a question. So, one of these little like side little show things I'm creating is called State of Play, and Brett, you're doing some dope branding for it, by the way. And it's really focusing on all the founders and people like you guys, who I want to have you guys on, by the way, and how you guys are playing through this year of tooling and all of the
Mm.
things coming out.
Man.
We just talked to Rio yesterday, and the conversations really centered around like, dude, what were some of the first things you ever built? And what was that moment where you're like, fuck yeah, dude, this is fun? And for me, it was Front Page. I had a bunch of X-Men cards and I had a really shitty scanner. And so I was like scanning my X-Men cards into the scanner. They came out all blotchy and blacked out. And then I would upload them to a website I was creating in Front Page. I emailed Marvel, by the way, and I said, "Hey, can I upload my X-Men cards to the internet?" And I was like 11. And they responded to me and they said, "Absolutely not." And then I was like, "Well, they're
Ah.
not going to find my fucking website anyway." And so I put them up anyway. And that was the first time I was like, I can do things on the internet. What was that for you guys?
Go for a hunter.
Oh man, I'm trying to think.
The first thing we
I think
built?
honestly, the
Hmm.
very first thing the very first thing I built was a design agency website.
Mm.
Straight up,
Hunter was a
that's what I built. I
capitalist
was
at
like,
7
this is
years
my
old. He
website.
was like, "Let's go."
Yeah. No, I mean, in terms of like publishing something like truly to the internet, I was like 17, and that's what I did. I mean, before that, you're talking about like maybe like custom
Yeah,
MySpace
100%.
feeds,
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Like,
dude.
like
right?
go
Stuff like
deep
that.
into it. Like, you were gaming, you made a clan
Yeah.
tag. Like, what were you doing?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, does a
Yeah.
clan tag
Oh, hell
count?
yeah,
Or are we
dude. What are
talking
you
about
talking
like
about? So,
building
like,
things?
Winamp skins
Okay.
and like
Well,
your
hell
first
yeah, dude.
message board
Fucking
form
clan
signature.
tags.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That was
yeah,
Oh,
fun stuff,
jeez.
dude. That for me, that was like the
Was.
first time I was just creating, and I had no idea what I was doing, and I had no idea what money meant in those situations.
no
Yeah,
idea.
so
Yeah.
that was a lot of fun for me.
Not a
Dragon Ball
lot.
Z fan page on GeoCities. There we go, Fib. That's what I'm talking about. Gave my 8-year-old an Apple Watch, and she figured out things I didn't know you could do when trying to text
Yeah.
family members. That's what I'm talking about, man.
Yeah.
Watching
I
kids
see
use
that with my kids
technology.
all the time. Yep.
What kind of devices do your kids use?
They get the occasional like iPad and stuff, but like even the 3-year-old, we sit there and laugh because we watch how she uses the device and we're just like, holy crap, bro. Like there's the way that they just pick up and get right into it and understand how to do certain things kind of blows your mind as a parent. I mean, we're not even sitting around teaching her. It's just like intuitive kind of by experiment, you know? But no, other than that, my daughter who's 7, she's starting to take like online courses. So she's getting her first go around with a laptop and, you know, kind of trying to learn the trackpad and stuff like that. But yeah, it's just amazing as parents how quickly they adopt this technology.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why so I've got a tattoo appointment next week, boys.
Ooh, what are you
Very
getting?
excited. So now I'm at the place where I need to and I'm looking at you guys because I was very heavy into image gen in like
Hmm.
October, December, a little bit in January, and I've stopped messing with the image gen tools for a little bit as I've worked on like other things.
Yep.
And now I'm like,
Mm.
oh. Like even last year when I was planning tattoo stuff, I was using AI for help, but now I feel like I can get so
Yeah.
much further. What should I
Oh
use?
yeah.
Korea? I feel like who we're gonna talk to today, Weber from Flora. Like I feel like I'm gonna create a whole tattoo brainstorming workflow over the next 3 days here.
I mean, we're talking to the man himself right here.
What do you mean?
We got Brett right here. He's the man. Have you seen his episode with Greg Eisenberg? Okay. Have you seen Brett's generative genius?
That
I
was
have.
fun.
I have. When did your episode go live?
It was a few days ago. Yeah, he
Oh,
DM'd me. He's like,
I
"Hey,
didn't see this.
want to go? Yeah, he like want to hop on a stream and like create some cool stuff." And the plan wasn't originally doing any of it live, but I was like, "It's quick." So yeah, we generated some stuff.
Hell yeah.
Kind of walked through the ladder of like of simple to complex, which even really complex is not that complex, but kind of gave the whole spectrum, and then he put it into a YouTube video. It's on X, but yeah, cool guy.
Oh, sick. I'll have to go check that out. That's
Hell
awesome,
yeah.
man. I
Yeah.
have you tried any of these node-based image gen tools like
Yeah.
Flora? What do you think, man?
Um, I've tried Flora. I've tried uh, what's it called?
Weavy?
Visual Electric.
Mm-mm.
Never tried Weavy. Haven't tried Korea. Although watching Petter use, I think
Use
it was
Korea.
Korea.
Yeah.
Kind of, it's on the back of my mind. It just depends, man. Like the stuff that I do, it just Mid Journey is just like it's it for me, you know. Yeah, it really is a case by case basis. But the majority of stuff that I put out on X that I'm doing, like for 7 form, Mid Journey is kind of the be all end all at this moment. So yeah, like these tools are cool. Like the workflow, I wish Mid Journey was within that, but I don't believe it is. And so that until I can get access to that model within this node based tool, not super like fond of it at the moment. Because
What
at the
is
end of the day, the
the
output is what matters. It's not how I get there. You know.
Yeah. Are you going to tell us about 7 form yet? Or are you going to keep being coy?
you announced it. He didn't he drop the
Not
brand he
really,
dropped the
though.
branding
Not
for
really,
it.
though. Like, he dropped the branding and he said it's going to be, like branding augmented by AI. But
That
I'm,
style, by the way, is sick.
it's pretty sick.
That I
Yeah.
I
Did
I
you
love
like it?
that
That was
style.
such a risk, man. Like I went to my wife and she's always the first person I go to. I'm like, okay, here's what I'm thinking. And her reaction was like needle in the balloon, you know? I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
golly. Like, I really
Oh,
felt like there was something there, you know?
she wasn't a fan of this style.
No, I mean, she's a fan of what I do, but she's like, is that my favorite style? No. I'm like, ah.
Well, that's a
I know what
Um,
you
I think
say
that's a
then,
different
Brett. You go,
question.
you just don't have taste, babe.
I'm sure I said something to that effect. No, it was really risky. Like, look, I mean, Design Joy, it's really kind of like the agency for anyone. I specifically didn't go really like hog wild with the style of it. Just kind of like middle of the road, pretty safe, appeals to, you know, this guy and that guy. But this one, I'm not that worried about it. Most everything I do comes from X, and I understand what X likes and dislikes largely. And so as long as it works on this platform, it's received fairly well. I think it'll be okay. But yeah, I mean, like I said in the live stream yesterday when we built out some like brand assets live on there, I was like, I wanted to create a brand that just was fun to like generate stuff with, and that was easy, and I could like largely lean on AI to do it. I'm kind of over like all this manual design work now. So yeah, I wanted something that was like super loose. This was sick, bro. Like, holy cow. A million views on this.
What a presentation of a brand, dude. Like
Have you seen his other stuff though?
I have actually. I've reached out to him after I saw this.
Oh my god. Yeah, like this is just one, but like banger after banger after banger. What a
But hold on,
presentation.
how was this video made? Like, is this AI right here? Is that actually
No,
him filming?
that's him. That's him. Yeah, you can tell like in the in frame where he hangs out on the wall. That's the back of his head.
Yeah, headroom logo, which is
Mm.
quite literally a block with a border, a thick border on the bottom, and it's just so well done in concept here.
He's one of the goats. Like I think he's like, I don't know if he's top on dribble, but dude, he's it.
Yeah, I think that's pretty sweet. What do you think, Hunter? A little quiet over there. I want to
Dude,
hear. What do you think?
I'm just soaking it in, man. That's sick. I'm also
You got to
look,
listen to
I'm
it with
gonna be-
sound though as well.
Yes.
I'm gonna be honest with everybody. I'm a little distracted, a little tiny bit, because you want to know what pisses me off? Instagram and TikTok do not have an API to pull bookmarks. I'm still stuck.
That's okay. We just need X.
Because they want to keep you in the platform, right? There's
Yeah.
workarounds though. I'm looking at some workarounds. But,
He's building.
it's pretty
He's
limited.
He's already on his hackathon
But-
right now.
No, I'm not hacking yet. I'm not hacking yet. I'm just researching. Sorry.
I mean, all I really care about is Twitter. So screw Tommy and his TikTok and Instagram.
Well, I have a lot of Twitter. Twitter bookmarking is not good either, right?
It's not
Is
good.
Is it weird that I have never used TikTok? I've never downloaded it. I've never used it. Anything?
Mm.
I don't think you're.
No.
I don't think you're worse.
Makes me
off for it,
nauseous.
you know.
Yeah, I think
do a lot of
is my life better because I haven't? That's the real question.
I'm not on
It is,
TikTok doing
yes.
anything like really productive if I'm on TikTok. And so if I'm on TikTok, like it means I'm just like doom scrolling some videos. But the
Yeah.
thing I will say is, and this is something that like kind of comes with the territory, is I do consume to see what's hitting out there, to stay kind of
Mhm.
aware of the types of trends and parallels to pull from, because I think it's important. But I don't love short form media as like a real
Yeah.
format to learn things anyways. I think it's okay for like delivering news and stuff. I think it could be better, you know. But there are some creatives out there, and I do think it's a great way. I want to be clear for anyone listening, like that is still a great way to distribute your ideas.
Oh yeah.
Your products, to get leads for clients. Don't knock that, man. I'll tell you what, it does work.
Let me ask you this though. Okay, I want to go back to this conversation real quick about distribution and audience and media, which is something that the three of us are pretty obsessed with. Brett, I'm going to use you. Okay, you have a brand. Like people know Brett from DJ, the smiley face, whatever. You've done a lot of YouTube podcasts, and you're big on Twitter, right? You're kind of non-existent on other platforms, but you don't need to be there, right? People know who you are. They see you engaging with others. They see you expressing your ideas, your work, whatever it is, right? And I think that there is a connection there. And of course, it's created like a love or hate kind of dynamic, right? If you think about, I recently re-downloaded Instagram on my phone, and I've taken a couple times where I've been bored, and I've like opened it up and just like scrolled through shorts, and you'll see this entertaining short, and you'll see this entertaining short, and this one, whatever, and you're like, oh, that's funny, and then I kind of close it and I go on with my day, and then I open it again, and I see the same people making the same videos. But if you ask me, like, what are their names? I couldn't. tell
Yeah.
you, right.
Yeah.
There's nothing about their content that sticks with me. There's nothing there that I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I should keep watching that. And it's always made me think, like, if you have something that is purely for entertainment value, how much value really exists there, right? Like if you're like, if you got 1 million followers on TikTok, but it's because you do dumbass skits, like, sure, you're going to get brand deals, but how long does that last before you're like, I have to become the biggest TikToker possible to like have any lasting.
Yeah.
Well, let me throw it
impression or
back at you for a
connection.
second, because I agree. I think in the saturation, you're finding a lot more examples of what you're describing. But just so you know, everyone who was popular at Vine is the most popular internet personality today. the
Yeah.
most. The Paul
Yeah.
brothers cracked that. And
Yep.
say what you want about them, they nailed it. And Vine was such an exercise in getting attention with the most ridiculous constraints. And I think if you figure out how to do that even more today, then that bodes well if you're able to take the next step. Now, a lot of people can't. And I'll tell you what, the founder of Patreon has something really great to say about this, right? Him and his wife had kind of a side project as creators called Pompamoose. It's their band.
Hmm.
And they've
Okay.
been doing the media thing with their band for years. And it wasn't until they started doing a sort of series, not like they used to just try to distribute their songs, right? The two of them through Pompamoose on social media. And it was just pretty non existent for them. But then when they started showing a series of them creating the songs in short form, and they did their own little flavor to it, they added some illustrations. And this was like 12 years later in their journey, blew up only recently in like the
Interesting.
last couple of years.
Mm.
And so it really goes to show there is a use case. And if you do the series thing, like I think when I blew up first on short form media, it was when I started to lean into my first series called Design Decisions That Don't Matter. And then suddenly everybody could say, "Oh, that's designer Tom." And so I
Yeah.
do think I think there's a number of variables at play there. But the main one being, I think if you can find something you're known for, you can
Yeah.
piggyback and then grow off of that. And that's probably the
Hmm.
way to do it. But I do think long form and evergreen gives you, I mean, and never mind just it being the better play long term for something sustainable, but like everyone's talking about soul in product. And for me, it's like, well, how do you have soul in media? And I do think you can have soul in short form media, but I think you have more shots on target with long form media. You can do more, you can tell better stories. And I think even as producers and creatives, it's more interesting and challenging to try to tell a
Yeah.
story in a longer form fashion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with that. I think you're right. Yeah, I think it's funny, like if you can get to the place to where you're basically doing work that's really interesting to you, you're learning new things, you're solving new problems, and then you're just creating that content about what you're doing. Like Brett, you do that really well. Tommy, you do that really well. I'm trying to learn from you guys in that regard. I think you're winning, right? Like
Yeah.
there's no better way to also get distribution for what you're doing than taking that same approach of like my content is an output of my inputs, right? Like
Yeah.
that's what it is. And I think that's kind of like the trick to succeeding today. I don't know. We've been on such a weird tangent this show. You know, we've been everywhere. We've had a therapy
I
session.
kind
We've
of
talked
like
about media.
this.
I
I
like
kind
it
of
too,
Yeah.
like this,
man.
man. You know,
Just
I think
chilling,
it's
dude.
and we've got Weber joining us in about 10 minutes, so we'll get back into some of the AI tooling. But I think this is a really important thing. I mean, we think about builders, like I, I I kind of anticipated this media problem to be recognized on a more niche level, but I think very quickly media is actually going to rise to a priority faster than I think I anticipated. So you see this obviously TBPN has just blown up and
Yeah.
it
What's
was
going on with
right.
that?
Well, Riley has just talked, like Riley made a post. I was trying to find it. Riley Jones, who talked about, he shared someone else's take on media and just how
Hmm.
like what they believe TBPN's bringing to the table is like not objective. It's opinionated. It's full of their taste. It's
Yep.
like their personality. And these are this is 100% true. I think we used to want to be more objective, and I think it's worthwhile not to just like spew any kind of nonsense. But I think what people really want now is because objectivity is on tap. Like we can get
Yep.
objectivity now from AI. And so it's like, well, tell me, give me some opinions, give me some personality, like allow me to find a place that resonates. And so you're seeing that already. I don't know if you guys saw Soleo just dropped a podcast series, right, with a bunch of hitters called First of Kind. And again, this is where we start to say what is differentiating media. And
Mm.
I think the play they're having here is it's access to these interesting people. It's on location, and what I think is going to become table stakes for differentiating media is have a personality, have access to cool stories or people, have a unique point of view. You need production quality. It's certainly not enough
Hmm.
just to have 4K video and a good microphone. So I think a lot of that stuff is really going to be the table stakes just to get off the ground. And you've got to think like, what's the new angle I'm going to bring to it? So for me, I'm nervous because I don't want to just do a podcast. I want to have good interviews, but then I'm going to cut to scenes of me narrating it and telling stories and going and connecting dots to historical concepts that relate. Like if you almost think about what works with video essays and how do you bring that over in an entertaining way. And so that stuff's really interesting to me. And I think what's going to happen is you're like the fact that all three of us are in this media game and we look at all the people that are in the media game covering the Bolt competition right now is only going to make storytelling better. And I think people are really going to appreciate that because with AI, we're just kind of making things a little cold. What is soul in media? You know, that's the question. I'm done. I've been on some rants today, boys.
I agree with that, but my question to you is like, what happens as AI just continues to encroach upon media itself? Right, like that's what we're seeing now with VO3, where we have all these. My damn Twitter feed is just nonstop street interviews generated by AI. So it's like, I guess what's your
street interviews generated by AI?
Yeah, have you seen?
Yeah,
this?
like yeah.
No.
Let's go back to the like a hawk to a girl interview. I mean, we've all seen it, right? Whether we want to admit it or not. That style of interview where you have some dude on the street and it's a crowd and you're interviewing two girls like that. That's being replicated a million times a day in VO3, and they're just all over my Twitter feed. And you genuinely can't tell they're AI. Yeah, I mean, unless you really pause and think about it.
I'm trying to find the video. I know what you're talking about. So Hunter, for example, VO is generating full-blown street style interviews, which have been a big trend in short form media. People walk up to someone, ask a question. The hawk to a video, big example. Well, the VO3 is generating that. And it's people talking. It's full-blown street interview. I mean, it is a full thing of two random people.
I don't consume like short form media enough to know these things or see these things.
I don't either.
What you're telling me is blowing my fucking mind right now.
Yeah, and I don't know that there's like I haven't seen if there's like an account blowing up with nothing but these fake street style interviews, but the street style interviews have trended. Someone like will create a couple versions. So someone recreated the Hawk Tua interview with two different people. But it's a complete video.
It's pretty legit for it just being released. I think of media like Hard Knock University. Is it Hard Knock University, where the guy that goes around interviewing like tech CEOs and billionaires and asks them like what their advice is. I could just see stuff like that just being everywhere because it's genuinely already, day 7 of VO being out even. That's what I worry about, like media. Media's are already taken kind of over like design in a large manner, but like media, I feel like is just going to get swallowed up.
Well, and this is why I think live streaming.
Yes, exactly.
It's why it's like I'm like, man, people are gonna like eventually this B2B tech space is going to look at what Twitch streamers and kind of the underbelly of the Twitch culture is doing and bring that over because the underbelly of Twitch culture. I'm not even talking about the mainstream layer like the Kai Cenats, but like the underbelly of that is there's so much to learn about the audience engagement component. The reason people are sitting here in this chat with us is because they know we're not robots, and they know because we got scanned in our retinas by the orb.
You're fucking authenticated, baby.
We're authenticated. I got my world ID.
Speaking of robots, we're going to use robots to build our submission to the Bolt Hackathon here in a little bit. I know we got Weber coming on in a sec. Brett, thanks for coming to hang out, dude. I'm going to see you shortly. You and I are going to go live for all the world to watch us pretend to be smart and try and build something for the hackathon.
Yeah, man. Yeah, text me after. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Absolutely, man.
Peace.
See you, buddy. Tommy, you've been a master ranter today, and I'm all for it. You haven't monologued. Guys.
Yeah.
Which sometimes the Tommy monologue you got to watch out for. But you've ranted, and I've enjoyed it.
Oh, okay. Hunter likes what I got to say today.
There's a difference.
Swag.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah. Shout out Scott Belsky.
Shout out Scott Belsky. Yes, sir. By the way, speaking of world IDs, so you need a real ID. There's a new requirement for travel. Have you gotten this on your ID yet?
No.
I need to do it. I need to do it soon, actually. So I'm like, oh, shit. Yeah.
You got to go, dude. I bet there's a line like crazy.
I was hoping I could just like order this, man. Are you telling me there's a line?
I don't really know.
I got through the airport once with no identification. They have a process for this apparently. I don't know. I had like an ID loss situation coming back, and they were able to get me
You
through.
got through the airport with no
I
identification?
mean, they took me back. I had like a credit card, so they have some alternate I don't know. It's very strange to me. I didn't know that that was even a possibility. But I was like, guys, my ID's lost, and I'm trying to get back home. What are my options here? You know,
Interesting.
and they had options for me apparently.
And so they were like, if you have a boarding pass.
No, it was yeah. They were like verifying some stuff. They had me pull up like a social media account. Like it was a whole thing.
That's crazy, but I like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. So it was nice.
Hmm.
Nice to get through the
Oh,
tape.
yeah, dude.
Ether though, I think you guys should lean into the like air.
Dude,
analogy.
that's a cool name. I'm into the brand name that you're spitting out, and we got Mr. Brandon 30 minutes, so we might be able to do something.
Okay, all right. I'm digging it. I'm gonna pull up. Let's look at
We're
our.
gonna pull up Flora Fauna.
I am. I want to take a look at this for us because I haven't used this entirely. I did dive in here about a month ago. Let's log in. Let's see. And I just want to see. Let me ask you this because you've been talking to a lot of people recently. First, Stephen Haney and then Pietro with Magic Path. How are you feeling about the future of design tools and dev tools? Like, what do you think, man?
I feel like we're on a really exciting trajectory, but we're not there yet.
Yeah.
And I don't know when we'll be there. I think from an engineering standpoint, I don't know, maybe I'm being a little hyperbolic, but I think it's solved. It's going to get better and better and better. But after Claude 4 and like Claude Code and like how good Cursor's gotten with those tools, it's like a solved problem. Like you can basically build whatever you want.
Can you tell me what's been like one of the coolest unlocks with Claude? So Claude 4 for code, hands down.
Yes, hands
Yeah.
down. Not even close.
Like not even
Nothing
touching
touches it.
ChatGPT right now. Just like Claude code, Claude 4 code, boom.
Claude 4 code. Yeah. So like it's gotten to the point now to where like I'll literally be working in Cursor, like doing deep stuff, and I'll have 2 to 3 Claude Code windows open in terminal working on other things because Claude Code now runs Opus 4 exclusively.
You know what you should create? You should create an app that sits on top of your like network and can help you, and AI just immediately fixes your bit rate every time you go pixelated. And you
That'd be
can
great.
just control it. You know, I feel like you have use for that. You could dog food that pretty well.
I like that idea. I like that idea. We should do that.
Yeah. Hold on. I'm pulling up our so this was the last time I just kind of messed around with this, you know, and I haven't done this yet. Now here's the thing, and this was about a month or so ago, and I was just kind of messing around with some stuff. I'll tell you what, man, being ethnically ambiguous like I am, most models just have no idea what to do with me. So this is apparently what I look like. But there are new models. So how much do you know about the Flux model?
A decent amount.
So the Flux model, and they just released
their
their like characterization. I can't remember what it was called, but apparently the Flux model has one of the best character referencing models right now.
Okay.
For taking like a shot of you and then duplicating that through a number of different angles accurately and in pretty high fidelity. I have not tried it. Maybe I don't even know if it's available in here yet. So we'll ask old Weber here in a moment. But for thumbnail generation, man, that might be the play.
I wonder if that's what Cree has been using.
I am curious. You've got to imagine they're pulling that in pretty quickly. I know these guys are. By the way, we talked about Riley Jones and Vibe Code. Did you know Nikita Beer is an investor in that?
I didn't know he was an investor, but I knew he was advising.
Oh, maybe I'm misspeaking. He might not be.
I mean, he could be an investor. I don't know.
I thought that was pretty easy. I just signed up for it recently. I'll have to check it out. Do you think it's too late for new entrants in the Vibe Code space?
No.
Do you think we could see
approach.
Do you think we could see a major player who hasn't even come to market yet?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, I think so.
100%.
Yeah, I think that everyone's trying to do it the exact same way, right?
Yes.
Like you're either trying to do it the IDE way, or actually there's 3 ways. So you're trying to do it IDE, You're trying to do it to where you're some kind of a text-based agent, or you're trying to do it in the sense that you are a bolt or a lovable.
Right.
I think that there are so many other angles that we could take.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got Weber.
Is Weber with us now?
Weber's with us now.
Is he in the room with us now?
Should
Oh,
we
there we
bully
go.
him and just throw him right in?
Just throw him
Right
into
the
the
mix.
deep end. There he is, man. We were just talking about you, Weber Wong, founder of Flora Fauna. He has just dropped a
Hello.
video. Just announced your fundraise. Congratulations.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Hey, I have a question for you, dude. And we
What's
were
up?
talking about this, these node-based interfaces, and we were talking about Flux characterization model. What's the model called that they released? It's supposed to be fantastic for like bringing characters in and I making thumbnails. Hunter and I want thumbnails.
We want thumbnails.
Yeah, I think it's called Context with a K.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, it
I
looks
don't know
pretty good from our testing. We're gonna add that pretty soon. I would say it's similar to GPT image in some ways, I feel like. I need to play around with it a little bit more. But a little bit more true to it. I feel like GPT image always like kind of makes things a little bit comical a little bit.
Mm.
Yeah.
What are you seeing are
does.
some of the major use cases in Flora Fauna right now? Is that like are you guys seeing any patterns or trends yet in how in the types of output people are looking for?
Hmm. Well, we're lucky enough to be used by folks across many different disciplines. So
Mhm.
folks like design agencies, filmmakers, even like the folks at Mischief, they're using us now. I would say like the thing I see the most is marketing videos,
Yeah.
product photography. I think those are areas in which AI can really easily add a lot of value, especially for folks that typically don't have a deep skill set in that area. So a lot of great workflows and uses I'm seeing there for the most part.
Show me. So I wanted to have you on because this has been the big thing that's been like I've been wrapping my head around. And Hunter and I both been talking to a lot of great people who are building some wonderful design tools. There's only a couple of folks making the bet on node-based interfaces. And you and I spoke about this recently about
Mhm.
if there's a cold start problem to that, but why it's also so useful to be able to go out and in on these different workflows and the different models. For
Mhm.
those who haven't seen Flora, and we've got some great people, Riley Jones, who's a frequent viewer here, has been just going haywire in Flora Fauna. And I love what he shares on X, and I highly recommend people check him out. But for those who haven't seen what Flora Fauna is, would you mind cracking that open for us and giving us a quick peek?
Yeah, definitely. Let me share my screen. You see this okay?
I do, yeah.
Cool. Let me navigate over. So yeah, I think the best way to describe Flora is it's an infinite canvas with every single creative AI model in one place. So you can really quickly concept and turn ideas from one form to another. I'll start from scratch just to kind of show you roughly how it works. Here we have text, image, and video. If you connect these together, you can get pretty much anything you're looking for. So here I can say colorful Matisse painting or flower. Here I can choose exactly how many generations I want. We have all the image models here, aspect ratio, styles. You can generate really quickly and get a lot
Mm.
of different things out at once. Some examples I'll show you here. So here's an example of turning a single image uh, of someone wearing a fashion item and turning it immediately into a 360 video with just a few steps.
Mm.
So you upload this here. You can also AI generate like a single fashion item onto a model as well. A lot of people use this for that. Then you just say make them face the other direction, and then right away you can kind of have this up. Some other stuff I'll quickly show.
That's
It's
so cool though.
insane.
I love seeing that. Yeah.
Yeah, and here's an example of the reason why, part of the reason why workflow-oriented tools are useful. So here's like a bunch of geometric logos that look cool, and I wanted to use them as reference. Here I just kind of connected it to one text block. and I use GPT to analyze the vibe of all of these logos and come up with a prompt based on that. And then from there, uploading context about the specific brand you're working on. So it has that aesthetic in the prompt already, and now you're saying what's going on there. And then you can immediately get a logo in the exact same style, but bespoke to what you're looking at. And here's a cool one related to flora.
So I love this because I mean it's moving through the different, like, this mental model makes sense to me once I start diving in, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when I first open this at blank canvas problem, I think the first thing I want to know is, okay, I can 0 to 1 something. But then
Yeah.
when I
Mhm.
start thinking about on, real production work, the question becomes, well, I've got this brand book, I've got all these brand guidelines. Is it easy for me to create like a starting point from all the artifacts I already have and just prompt away from there, whether that's video artifacts, motion guidelines, visual guidelines? How are you guys thinking about that? Is that something that's already here?
Yeah, so we work with a lot of professional creative teams, so that's something that we focus on a lot. So I'll show you an example here of how to train styles in Flora, which lets you stay on brand a lot. And we're adding a bunch of features around um, uploading the right context. Um, so here's an example of a couple vintage moon phase photos that I collected. If you want to train a style on this, all you have to do is select these all, hit style, and then train it right away.
Mm,
And once you have that style,
Mhm.
whether it's your customer's brand, specific assets or aesthetics you put together, you can now apply it to any model in Flora across different types. So here's an example of a layout I found, and I wanted to turn it into that aesthetic. So all I have to do is come here and select the one I want and generate, and it comes out, very much in the style of what I was looking for. And you
yeah.
could do this for
Mm.
characters, objects, things like that.
So in each one of these panes or
Interesting.
these, what do you call these? What would you refer to each one of these windows?
Um, in the context of traditional creative tools are called nodes. We're calling them blocks just to make it, I don't know, more conceptually simple.
Right.
But
Yep.
we're still deciding on that, honestly.
So
Dude,
I can come in here
it's
and
I
go
love
ahead.
it. I just love it. I think it's sick.
And you can
Thank
change the
you.
model per block. Is that true?
Yeah. So basically, we kind of conceive of AI as turning from one modality into another. So if you do text to image, there's a set of models related to that. If you do image to image or images to image, there's different models available for that. So here, this is image to image. So we only expose the models that do image to image, and they do slightly different things. If I were to bring, let's say, just as an example, another image here and connect it in, now this is doing only images to image related models. So that
Hmm.
happens to be GPT image, Gemini Flash, and now Runway, where you can have up to 3 to have a lot of control there.
Interesting.
So we kind of figure out all that stuff. So for most creative professionals who don't want to think about AI or keep up with the specific nuances of each model, they just have to think about, I have an idea in text, I want to turn it into an image, or I have an image, I want to turn it into a video, and
Right.
they don't have to worry as much about the technical aspects.
Yeah, because I don't know which model to select. I mean, I have some
Yeah,
Mhm.
ideas depending on what I'm trying to do, but we start to get in certain creative territories. I'm like, I don't know which one of these is the better model. Just pick for
yeah,
me.
yeah. I mean, like if you think about like Figma, for instance, is built on WebGL, and none of us know what WebGL is, right? We probably shouldn't need to think about specific things to make the things
Yeah,
that we want.
I agree with that. I was having that conversation with Stephen Haney from Paper, and his whole thing is like, I don't even want designers to know that the canvas is code,
Mhm.
Mm,
right? Like, I just want them to know that they can design. If for example, they're a level beyond that and they need that React component, great. But I don't want them to even know it's code. So it's that abstraction from like, what is all the really nerdy technical stuff that's happening versus like, this is just your medium, your modality to create, right? And I think you guys are
Yeah,
doing some really interesting stuff there.
yeah. Thank you.
So
Um,
we just talked about how Perplexity released labs, and now they can, it is capable of coding these dashboards right off the bat, very functional things. And I always make the joke, it's only a matter of time before everything is outputting some sort of code, right?
mhm.
Um, you guys think you're gonna go in that direction at all, or one of these cards, these blocks, gonna output code that I export out for something?
Well, I've been wanting to do that since we started like a year ago.
Yeah.
But for some reason, there's a lot of stuff in AI and we have to prioritize.
Sure.
I've always thought about that more from the perspective of making like shaders or creative code, P5 type
Mm,
stuff. I know there's great stuff like I believe it's called like Unicorn.
yeah.
I think that's really cool. Um, but yeah, I think we would like to do that mainly because AI is inherently probabilistic because diffusion is. The good thing about shaders is like even if you use AI to generate shader code or P5 code or animations like that, the end result is always like programmatic, right? And it has a completely different visual quality. So I've always loved those. So maybe we'll do that at some point. I think making interactive web apps is probably outside of our scope. That's kind of
Mm,
like functional pixels. We focus on non-functional pixels, only pretty pixels,
mhm.
Hmm.
um, just to have a defined scope, especially given we do enable a lot of things already.
Now, I find it interesting that the way you guys message what you're trying to build is the creative operating system, which I think is a great thing. It sounds great, but what does that actually mean 2 years from now? Like, how do
Hmm.
you want this to grow, and what do you think that looks like?
So we actually haven't done our brand yet. So creative operations is probably something we threw out there. The ironic part is we work with like 50 different brand agencies and we haven't had time to do our own brand. Um, yeah, we're still figuring out messaging because we don't fully know what we're building.
Mm,
Mm,
We learn every month, right? Um, like a week ago, we had a really interesting breakthrough about the fact that in many ways, all creative tools are about the intent you have and what
yep.
context you provide. So how do we build it around that? We thought we were building a workflow tool, but what is a workflow tool? There's workflows in real world, and then there's the workflow UX. Do we need the workflow UX to enable better workflows in the real world? So because of the product and our view of what the product is always changing, it's actually hard for us to exactly define. I would say aspirationally, our mission statement is to make it possible to speak your idea into existence with a high degree of creative control. We actually don't care what UX or what the product looks like. We just want to achieve that. So we will always adapt to make that possible. We also care a lot about, for as little effort as possible, how do you get as much control and power as possible? We want to build a power tool. And the last thing I would say about like what we're actually going towards is we want it to feel like driving a Porsche. You steer, floor accelerates, but you should have immediate and exact control over every aspect of it. So in terms of creative OS, like there's some overlap with that in that like having all these models in one place, not having to switch between different tools, having more creative control, it starts to feel like an operating system. Um, but we primarily think about just how to help people go from their idea to their output with as much control as possible, as fast as possible.
Yeah.
well, you haven't figured out your messaging yet, but you sure sound like it.
I know, right? I'm like,
Hmm.
this sounds like you've said this to investors 10,000 times, and I'm all for
Uh,
it. Like,
I have to say different things to investors. I mean, they're not like from the creative
yeah, yeah.
industry. Like the messaging is completely different.
Dude, I'm
But
curious,
yeah.
what's your pitch? What's your elevator pitch when you're talking to investors?
Huh. Hmm. Interesting. So funny fun fact, I for a stint was an enterprise software investor at Menlo Ventures. So like I kind of know like what folks want to hear.
What beats to
Yep.
So
hit? Yeah, yeah.
I think it's much more strategic and high level, and it's actually quite divorced from what I actually think about every day. But you know, I say the things that I need to say, and I do agree that I do know that like on the high strategic level that we are in the right approach. But it's generally something along the lines of like the team that will win in this market is the one that understands the business logic of their specific customers more. So that's like how a venture person would perceive it. But like in reality, it just means I just love talking to creatives, understanding their creative process and how to help them out. The entire team does. Everyone here is from a creative background. We do this for fun. This actually started for fun because we were doing this for our own art projects.
Yeah.
So we'll
Yep.
always be really, really good at that and pretty obsessive with it.
It would be cool to do build wars around some of the node-based workflows, man. These
Yeah.
tools give me so many ideas. Hey, Weber, I appreciate you being here. I have one last question for you before you get out of here.
Yeah.
Um, so the node UX, and this is the part I'm kind of focusing on because it's just really interesting to me to think
Yep.
about which one of these UX or these new paradigms are going to become sticky. Do you
Yep.
think that you guys are building essentially the zoomed in layer for the super user
Mm,
who wants to open things up? But do you think that you're not far away from abstracting that layer out and allowing it just to be like
Mm.
engaged with on call? Do you think that's where you guys end up going?
dude, I love these type of questions. So, I think in some ways you can argue that when you're using Flora, it feels more directorial and zoomed out. That's not the sacrifice of pixel level control. But the reason why we do that is because you can't have pixel level control with AI anyway. So if we're going to build an AI tool, that's probably the right layer of abstraction to do it, and probably why people find it to be intuitive, in spite of the fact that node-based tools have not been popular, traditionally speaking. But yeah, like I also think about it on like different layers, right? Like if we have an image editor, it almost feels like you're zoomed in. If you're on the node layer, it's zoomed out a bit. If you were to prompt to generate the nodes themselves, it would be even zoomed out even more because you're not actually moving things around. It's kind of like asking someone to paint something for you instead of painting it yourself. So there are these different layers of like how abstracted away are you from it at the sacrifice of the control you can get from being really deep inside it.
Right.
And it's about, I don't know if we should focus on letting people seamlessly move in and out because that there's like cognitive dissonance from that, or focusing on one layer and then like being really, really good at that. It's still an open question for sure, especially because AI is constantly changing, and we're learning a lot as we go.
That is awesome, man.
Yep.
Well, I'm excited to talk to you
I'm
further.
excited for what you guys are building.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this is
Yeah.
super cool.
I think what you guys are doing, Tommy,
All
it's
right.
my turn. Okay. Jeez. Weber, I'm sorry, man. We can't take him out of the house. Dude, like what you guys are doing to me is one of the most interesting things I've seen in the space. I think right now the majority of people that we've seen are trying to solve for like how do I use AI to create AI to create UI, right? That's typically a lot of the recent players, or you've got the Krias and the Mid Journeys and things like that. But I think you taking the infinite canvas approach to multimodal, essentially just like creative expression and the different use cases that come with that, to me it feels like one of the most fresh and exciting things I've seen in the space recently. So I'm rooting for you guys like crazy. I love it. And, that's my spiel. I'm excited that you came to talk with us. And now I'm going to bug you to come and dive even more in detail with us soon.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And yeah, like this is still very early on. We'll love to continue to get your guys' feedback or anyone that's listening. If you guys have any thoughts or feedback, we'd love to hear it so we can make it a better tool for y'all for sure.
Awesome, man. All right, Weber. Thanks for joining us, dude. We will talk to
Yeah.
you very soon. You guys go check out florafauna.ai.
Yeah, thanks for having me, y'all. Appreciate
Yeah.
the questions. I'll catch you later.
Yeah, man.
Yep. Take care, man.
Not sponsored, but just a cool tool. But
It's a
I
sweet
want
tool,
to.
dude.
This is what's interesting about it, right? Like you saw Guillermo from Vercel say, well, first you saw Shad Cia say Google's one good UI away from leading this AI race, and he says, well, more broadly, I think everyone is one good UI away from an AI breakthrough, and I think that's right. I think you were even calling it out earlier that a lot of these tools in this space are just kind of creating the same stuff. The real question is like, who's going to do this in a way that like really starts? This is a fun time again for UI because like for a long time, mobile and web, and it's like we've reached the ceiling of all these patterns that we know are true. Rio calls it out. He says like we have a lot of fundamental truths in UI, but we don't have a lot of fundamental truths in this space yet. And I'm curious to see who lands on the fundamental truths.
Dude, I'm with you, man. I'm excited to see it. I've got some contenders that I think are going to do really well. I hate to always keep like, promoting the homie's book, but I'm pretty excited about the stuff that Pietro's doing. I'm really excited about what Paper's building. I just do like the thing for me. I've always been the guy that wants to use the startups products, right? Like I don't want to use Apple Calendar. I don't want to use Apple Notes. Like show me somebody that's obsessed about notes, or obsessed about calendar, or obsessed about tasks or whatever. Like I want to use their stuff, right? Like I want to rep the small guys. And my favorite thing about everything that's happening in the space right now is that it truly is it's the little guy's time.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Like, you know what? Figma, whatever, multi-billion-dollar IPO coming up soon, like whatever. No, I want to see what Stephen Haney and Paper are doing, right? Like that's what I want. Google and their AI studio, nah, dog. Like my money's on Eric Simons and Bolt, right? Like it's time to rep the little dudes. And well, I guess I don't know if you can call raising $100 million a little, dude, but relative to a $1 trillion corporation, you can for sure. But yeah, I'm fired up about it. I love it. I think we are about to enter, because of the hard work that these tools have laid and all the media stuff that's going on, we are about to enter this golden age of niche tools, like truly niche tools. And I want to tell you a story, okay? I'm gonna sell my own book for a second, okay? Most useful fucking comments in the world over here, Mr. Adrian Fortuna. You distracted me because it caught my attention in the little boop. For years, right? Like I've been running agencies for years, service businesses, forever. And there's all kinds of things that are wrong in a service business when you're trying to find tools to use them, right? Like one of the biggest things, regardless of what app you use, like people like Monday, they like Asana, they like Trello, they like Linear, whatever. You always end up having to go back and forth with customers about like, when did we do this? When did you give us feedback? Like, what's that source of truth, that timeline log, if you will? And, you know, across my companies, I've been like really just having that moment of like, man, why are we still just trying to like retrofit these tools to fit our use case when the power is right there within our reach to just build whatever we want, to just build the things that like make our organizations run smooth, right? And I've just been inspired by all the conversations we've been having with people.
Yeah.
Sahil Lavingia, a big one, of him open sourcing Gumroad and all that stuff. And I was like, you know what? We should just full on send it and commit. And so we're going to be building something called Service OS. That's one of the first projects that we're going to be launching soon, which is going to be a collection of really niche, really fucking opinionated products to help run your agency, your service business, like anything that you have that deals with customers. And I'm like, we need to just keep doing that. Like there's so many things we want to build. So let's think of them as collections. Let's not limit ourselves to like, oh my God, we got to build one big $1 billion company, one end all be all. Let's think of them as like these collections, these aggregate groups of all the things that we want to build. And that's what
Every just raised money around it. Reid Hoffman leading that series. The that logo we just looked at for Headroom. It's so you're starting to see companies, the Service OS you're talking about seems to fit in that vein. I actually asked Headroom, I said, hey, like, I'd be interested in seeing what you guys can help me automate, because I'm at a place where we talk about moving fast. It would be kind of cool to get somebody's eyeballs on this thing and to tell me, what am I not connecting that like you could help me connect? And if that's what you guys are doing, I mean, I need that kind of help. I would pay for that type of service if it yielded real fruit. So I'm going to talk to them and see what they've got. I'm skeptical of these services right now because I've tried to make some things and I've got certain things working. I'm not sure if they're there yet. So I want this to work. I want to have help in building these layers for myself, and I'd be willing to pay for services that help me do that.
Can I give you a pro tip for free?
Ooh, okay, all right.
Claude Opus is so good. You can open N8N, the agent builder, right? You can go talk to Opus, and you can literally just say, "Hey, I'm looking to create this workflow for myself," and you give it the N8N docs.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do a video, dude. I'm gonna fucking do a video on this. You give it the N8N docs. You say, "I want to create this workflow for myself," and Opus will literally write all the JSON for you. You take it, you paste it into N8N, and the whole agent.
What? Yeah.
And you see it in that node format of how it works. All you have to do is sign into the OAuth accounts and deploy it. It's
Dude,
insane.
I want that. I need that between Linear, Notion, all the Slack. I want all my integrations and knowledge bases and granola and everything in one fucking place. And yeah, man, I didn't even think that's. Of course, that's how you do it. Sometimes I'm like, of course that is. Like, yes, ask Claude to create your prompts for you. Duh.
Yes, exactly. Ask it to build the agents, and you're good to go. Dude, this is exciting. I gotta take a quick break before I start bashing my head against the wall trying to build the future of bookmarking tools. But dude, what a Friday, man. I'm excited with the hackathon kicking off. I'm excited with your rants today. You got
Hell
me
yeah.
fired up.
Summer is
I hope this was
here.
a motivational.
Summer is here. Start some projects, have some fun. This is going to be a good time. If you build some stuff, tag us. We want to see it. We want to talk about it.
Yep. Hell yeah. Awesome, dude. Everybody, I will catch you on the next stream
right.
pretty soon.